Deep within the sarcophagus of Chernobyl, shielded from the world by layers of concrete and steel, lies an object of almost mythical terror. It's a mass of solidified, once molten material, known ominously as the elephant's foot. This is not just a relic of disaster. It is the most dangerous single piece of waste on our planet, a silent testament to the terrifying power we've unleashed. For decades, it has been a source of both morbid fascination and profound scientific concern. How did it form? What dangers does it still pose? And what incredible risks did people take just to get a glimpse of this radioactive monster? This is the story of the elephant's foot, the thing that could kill you just by looking at it. To understand the elephant's foot, we must go back to the early morning hours of April 26, 1986. At the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Soviet Ukraine, a catastrophic safety test went horribly wrong. Reactor number 4 experienced a sudden, violent power surge, leading to a series of steam explosions that blew the 1,000-ton lid clean off the reactor core. The heart of the reactor was now exposed, spewing a plume of radioactive isotopes into the atmosphere, an event that would contaminate vast swaths of Europe and become the worst nuclear disaster in history. In the immediate aftermath, the fire inside the reactor burned for days, reaching temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Celsius. Inside this inferno, something unprecedented was happening. The nuclear fuel rods, their zirconium cladding, the control rods, and the surrounding sand and concrete of the reactor vessel all melted together. This superheated radioactive lava was a toxic brew of materials, a substance never before seen on this scale. Scientists would later name it Corium. This molten corium began to behave like a geological force of its own. It was a glowing, viscous mass slowly eating its way through the remaining structures of the reactor building. It burned through the steel base of the reactor, flowed through pipes and hallways, and eventually pooled in a steam distribution corridor deep in the sub-basement, room 217-2. As it cooled over several months, it solidified into a wrinkled, multi-layered mass that resembled the foot of a giant elephant. And thus, the legend of the elephant's foot was born. When it was first discovered by cleanup crews, known as liquidators, the danger was immediate and absolute. The radiation fields around it were so intense that they were off the charts. Initial estimates suggested that in the late 1980s, standing near the elephant's foot for just 30 seconds would bring on dizziness and fatigue. 2 minutes would cause your cells to begin to hemorrhage. 4 minutes would trigger vomiting, diarrhea, and fever. And just 5 minutes of exposure would have been a death sentence, with a 100% chance of fatality within 2 days. The radiation was so powerful, it was literally cooking the air around it, and it even affected photographic film, causing graininess and distortion in the few images that were taken. The first photographs of the elephant's foot are haunting. They were taken by Artur Korneyev, a radiation specialist and one of the few people to have seen it up close multiple times. The images are blurry, grainy, and possess a strange, spectral quality. This wasn't due to poor camera equipment. This was the effect of intense gamma radiation bombarding the film itself. Korneyev and his colleagues had to work in fractions of minutes, darting into the high radiation zone to get a reading or snap a photo before retreating. In some early attempts, they even tried to use a wheeled robot to get closer, but the intense radiation fried the robot's electronics, rendering it useless. The only way to document this terrifying object was for humans to risk their lives. So, what exactly is the elephant's foot made of? It's primarily a black-brown glassy material called a silicon dioxide glass mixed with nuclear fuel, uranium dioxide, along with traces of plutonium, zirconium, and other fission products. It's essentially a massive, solidified lump of radioactive lava, weighing an estimated 2 metric tons. In its early days, it was so hot from the ongoing radioactive decay that it glowed with a faint, eerie light and remained warm to the touch for years, a smoldering ember of the disaster. One of the greatest fears in the years following the meltdown was the China syndrome scenario. This was the terrifying possibility that the molten corium, including the elephant's foot, would continue to melt its way downwards through the concrete foundation of the power plant and into the groundwater below. If this massive amount of radioactive material contaminated the water table, it could poison the Pripyat River, which flows into the Dnieper River, a water source for millions of people, including the city of Kyiv. This would have transformed a regional disaster into a continental catastrophe. To prevent this, an emergency operation of incredible scale and bravery was launched. Miners were brought in from across the Soviet Union to dig a tunnel beneath the reactor core. Their mission was to create a space for a massive concrete heat exchanger to be installed, a slab designed to cool the molten mass from below and stop its descent. These miners worked in extreme conditions of heat and radiation, often with inadequate protection, in a desperate race against time. Thankfully, their efforts, combined with the natural cooling of the corium, prevented the worst-case scenario. The elephant's foot solidified before it could reach the foundation, but the danger was far from over. For a decade after the disaster, the elephant's foot remained a source of intense study and concern. Scientists had to understand its composition, its stability, and how its radioactivity was changing over time. Artur Korneyev, the man who photographed it, would return to room 217-2 many times. He and other scientists would take samples by drilling into the mass, or in some cases, by shooting it with a rifle from a safe distance and collecting the fragments. These samples revealed that the elephant's foot was not a uniform structure. It was heterogeneous, with different layers and compositions, and it was slowly beginning to crack and crumble, releasing radioactive dust into the immediate environment. Over the decades, the radioactivity of the elephant's foot has decreased significantly due to the decay of its most volatile isotopes. The 5-minute death sentence of 1986 has lessened. Today, an hour of exposure would still deliver a dangerous, potentially lethal dose, but it's a shadow of its former immediate lethality. It's no longer warm to the touch and has cooled to the ambient temperature of the room. However, this cooling has introduced a new problem: fragility. As the glassy structure has cooled, it has become brittle. Cracks have appeared across its surface, and there is a real risk that it could eventually disintegrate into a large amount of highly radioactive dust. This dust poses a significant long-term threat. If it becomes airborne, it could be inhaled by workers at the site or escape the containment structure, creating a new contamination hazard. This is one of the primary reasons for the construction of the new safe confinement, the massive arch-shaped structure that was slid over the old crumbling sarcophagus in 2016. This new shelter is designed not just to contain the remaining radiation, but also to allow for the eventual robotic dismantling of the reactor ruins, a process that will include dealing with the elephant's foot. The plan for the far future is to use advanced robotics to break apart the corium masses, including the elephant's foot, package them into shielded containers, and move them to a long-term geological repository for permanent storage. This is a task of almost unimaginable complexity and danger, a technological challenge that will likely take generations to complete. For the foreseeable future, the elephant's foot will remain where it is, deep beneath the ruins of Reactor 4, a silent, sleeping giant. The story of the elephant's foot is more than just a scientific curiosity. It's a stark reminder of the permanent consequences of nuclear catastrophe. It is an object created by human error that will outlast every person alive today, remaining dangerously radioactive for tens of thousands of years. It represents the bravery of the scientists and liquidators who faced unimaginable dangers to understand and contain it. And it stands as a permanent physical warning from history, a lesson forged in a crucible of nuclear fire, reminding us of the awesome power we wield and the profound responsibility that comes with it. The grainy, ghostly photographs of this radioactive mass are among the most chilling images of the 20th century. They show us something that defies our normal understanding of the world, an object so toxic that its very presence is lethal, a monster born from our own technology. As we continue to navigate our complex relationship with nuclear power, the elephant's foot serves as the ultimate cautionary tale, forever entombed beneath the silent fields of Chernobyl. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into one of history's most fascinating and terrifying secrets. If you found this story as compelling as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the mysteries of science and history. And we would love to hear from you in the comments. What other hidden stories from history's disaster zones should we uncover next? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.